How's it going, my friends, and welcome back to Sully Scale Models. So in this episode we are going to be looking at the lower half of the half track, and we're going to be looking at we're going to start with weathering the lower half of the hull before we put the tracks on, and of course also looking at weathering the tracks and wheels and road wheels. So we might as well just jump straight into it. So make sure you got yourself a brew and a bicky, and I'll see you on the other side. So before we move on to making the tracks and doing the wheels, we're kind of carrying on a little bit from the last episode, and we're going to start preparing the underneath, if you like, of the half track before we start applying the tracks, because of course it's going to make things easier rather than try and do this later. So what I've done is I've made a mix of pigment. I say mix, it was just one pigment I used, which was Stardust Dry Earth, and basically I made it into a bit of a paste to start with. So I put it into a pallet, added some water, made it a relatively thick paste, plastered it on, let it dry, and just before it completely dried out, so it was kind of like a little bit damp, I went over with the same pigment and just dabbed it around, so to give the effect of wet mud underneath, and some of the higher parts of the caked on mud, which will dry out a little bit quicker and easier. And initially I didn't do the very bottom of the vehicle, but later on I decided to, just in case it was visible. So I couldn't find any metal links to replace the rubber ones that come with the kit, so I managed to get these Hobby Boss ones, which are plastic, and you can see there's quite a lot of them. So it was now time to sit down, attempt to relax, and snip all these off the sprue. Once I got them all off the sprue, it was then start gluing the rubber part of the track to the cleats. Fortunately, these would snap together quite easily. So here's a bit of a time to sit back and think about a lot of things. Like, where's my cup of tea? Where's my cup of tea? What to do with my cup of tea? Where's the bickies? Oh, no worries, I found them. So panic over, tea was found. So next was to start cleaning up the tracks. The cleats themselves were okay, there wasn't really much to do with those. The pads, as you can see on the right one, needed that big thick seam line. It wasn't part of the sprue gate, but it was easily done by just filing it down with a sanding file. As you can see it on the left one there, it was all done. It was a little bit scratched up, but I was actually quite happy with that because it gave it a little bit of a wear look. And as you can see, the bottom two tracks there are the replacement ones, and the top one is the original one from the kit. As you can see, the replacement ones are better. It does sit a little bit higher, but they are actually more realistic than the rubber ones. Now, stupidly, once I thought I was recording the painting of the tracks, I wasn't. So basically what I did was I used a light rust, painted it over the tracks, then with a cocktail stick spattered that on, did exactly the same again with a slightly darker rust. Full same technique, painting it, then a bit of a spattering, and then all I had to do then was paint the rubber parts of the track, which I used Tamiya's black rubber, which is XF85. So this actually was the first time I actually properly painted tracks, but I was quite happy with them. Turned out okay. So next was coming on to weathering the wheels. I did pretty much the same as I did on the other side. So my watered down powder mix, if you like, which just does look like a thick clump of mud. Literally just plaster it all over the tyre, get it into those grooves as well, and also on the inside of the hub of the wheel as well. I have actually done a tutorial on this one. It's a little bit old now. I do plan to do a new one at some point, but I will link that in the top right hand corner and in the description down below. Now once it's all dried, I've got a cotton wool bud with a little bit of water on the end. You don't want it soaking wet, just a little bit of water, and then just with that cotton bud, just run it round the outside of the tyre, leaving the dirt on the inside of the tyre treads. And then I'll also do the same on the inside of the tyre, removing the majority of it, but not too much, because I want to, give the impression of it, it's been through a few muddy puddles. Also, with wiping it away, it does leave a little bit of kind of like either a filter or a tint to the rubber of the tyre, which again gives you that sort of kind of like a nice dusty look to it. So keeping it all, all tied in nice and I'd say nice and tidy, but more nice and dirty. So once the tyres and road wheels have all dried, I then went over them with some MIG loose grains. They've got it on their bottle as medium density mud splashes, so it's quite good. It's a bit lighter than the dirt I used. Again, this was just to give the impression of a dried look. As you can see, I'll run it off the edge of a cocktail stick. No, sorry, I used the needle in the case of this one, but you can use it on a cocktail stick. Just run it off the edge of the needle or cocktail stick, and it'll give you a little bit of a spatter. I didn't actually put too much of this on as I actually intended to, but I was quite happy with the way it looked in the end anyway. So next was to finally put the tracks onto the model. So it was quite simple of just feeding the tracks through, getting the guiding horns between the double road wheels. Was a little bit of a fiddle. For some reason they seem to be slightly misaligned. That probably might have been the fact that I might not have cleaned up the axles before I put the road wheels on. But to be honest with you, with a bit of fettling, I actually managed to get it to sit right and get a nice sag on those tracks. So once I got it around the road wheels, fitted into the sprocket, all that was left to do really was quite simply just clip the ends of the tracks in. Now these can, because they're plastic and I haven't glued them, they're just relying on literally the fact that they're clipped in to stay together. But if you want to, you can quite easily glue these all into place after you're happy with where it sits. Now I did actually glue a little bit of the track onto the road wheels, but not the links themselves. So it says that's an option if you wish to do so. So on the other side of the half track, I'm having the track thrown. So what I've done is I've fed most of the track through, super glued it to the lower part of the road wheels, and then what I'll do is I'll feed it some of the way back through, leaving a bit of a loop at the back of the track. Again, just giving that sort of simulation of a thrown track. So there we go, my friends. That's the tracks and wheels all done and dusted. In the next episode, we will be looking at putting some accessories, and it's quite simply just finishing off this little half track. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. If you're new around here and you do like what you're seeing, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. You can also put bell notification, which of course will tell you when the next episode or the video is up and available. If you guys also would like to help support me and the channel, you can also find links in the description down below, and you can also follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll catch you again soon.